single Jedi is now an enemy of the Republic. Do what must be done. Do not hesitate. Show no mercy.
Who could have done this?
Twisted by the dark side, young Skywalker has become.
I feel so helpless.
You were the chosen one!
Star Wars Revenge of the Sith was released in 2005 and was written and directed by George Lucas, and stars Ewan McGregor, Hayden Christensen, Samuel L. Jackson, and Ian McDiarmid, and follows the evil Darth Sidious who enacts his final plan for unlimited power, and the heroic Jedi Anakin Skywalker must choose a side. Now, I'm a massive Star Wars fan. Outside of the movies, I watch most of the TV shows, The Clone Wars and The Mandalorian being my favorite. I collect some of the comics and read some of the books, as well as playing some of the video games. Old and new. Actually, prior to this YouTube channel, I used to have an old YouTube that no longer exists, where I used to post gameplay clips of me playing Heroes vs. Villains on Battlefront 2. And I actually dug up an old gameplay clip where I played Darth Maul and I go up against Luke and everybody respected the 1v1. But anyways, here's the clip. Enjoy.
You are no match for me.
I will never join the dark side. I'm a Jedi. I feel the good in you.
I sense your fear. Pitiful. Jedi.
Stay away from the people!
Signed by the original Boba Fett. See that? I will cherish this forever. Revenge of the Sith holds a special place in my heart. Not only is it my favorite Star Wars film, it's one of my favorite movies ever, especially when it comes to nostalgia in my childhood. And most recently, having its 20th anniversary, there was no way in hell I was going to miss this on the big screen. And I have to be honest, there was this sense of excitement and magic when going into the theater that night. Going to the theaters to see a Star Wars film used to be something that was seen as an event. And of course, over the years, there's been a lot of diversity within the fan base and overall direction in the franchise itself. But that alone is a video within itself. But let's get back to Revenge of the Sith, which is the best paced and written of the prequel trilogy. And as you watch the film, it becomes pretty clear that this is the film that George Lucas wanted to make. It was the only movie where he didn't have to compromise or wasn't running close to the edge with pioneering filmmaking technology. This is Lucas making Star Wars without any shackles. And it's absolutely breathtaking. Star Wars is a space opera, and this movie really emphasizes the opera aspect. It's melodramatic, and it really pushes the idea that we're witnessing legendary events. Now, the movie has its flaws, which isn't much. Some clunky dialogue, especially having to deal with the romantic scenes between Anakin and Padme when they're saying what they're thinking or how they feel. And there is no subtext, but we really don't care because every line in this film now is a meme. You're so beautiful.
It's only because I'm so in love.
No, it's because I'm so in love with you. The movie opens with an epic space battle with Anakin and Obi-Wan on their way to save Palpatine. Originally, this scene was over an hour long, but was cut due to going over the runtime, which is why we need a 4-hour cut. But it's exciting, the CGI holds up, especially being better than the 2 previous films. And we get one of my favorite lines from Anakin Skywalker.
Fun begins.
The story is contained, the humor works, and the chemistry between Obi-Wan and Anakin is really great. And I love how R2-D2 lights these super battle droids on fire. Really fun shit. Count Dooku is one of my favorite characters in all of Star Wars. If you haven't seen Tales of the Jedi, go check it out. You're missing out. But there's a lot that was cut during the Anakin and Dooku rematch that I wish they kept in, especially having to deal with the choreography. This is the first time we see General Grievous in live action. He's a really cool character, except when you're playing against him in Heroes vs. Villains. You can see it through my eyes, huh? That I've been crawl rushed a bunch. Don't ya? Now, prior to this film, he only appeared in the Clone Wars micro-series, in which, in the ending of that show, you see Mace Windu crush his chest plate, which gives him that cough we see in Revenge of the Sith. And I always loved that moment with the battle droid where General Grievous snags the lightsaber out of his hand so rudely. You're welcome. The rematch between Anakin and Dooku was incredible, even better than their fight in Attack of the Clones, and I love how dark it gets after Palpatine says, "Do it!" And there's great use of sound when the lightsaber echoes to silence. Oh look, Millennium Falcon cameo. So Padme tells Anakin that she's pregnant, and they kiss and hug in the most public environment possible. I thought y'all's love was secret. Get a room is all I'm saying. And just like George Lucas, John Williams goes all out in this film, bringing some of his best work with Anakin's betrayal, Battle of the Heroes, as well as bringing back Duel of the Fates when Yoda and Sidious are fighting at the end of the film. Argue with a brick wall, Hayden Christensen is beyond a phenomenal actor, and one of the best actors in the Star Wars universe. And I'm glad he's getting the recognition he deserves for playing Anakin after receiving backlash for his role in the early 2000s. I think what most don't understand is that George Lucas intentionally made Anakin's lines dramatic. Like, "Liar! You will not take up with me! Love won't save you, Padme. Only my new powers can do that." I hate sand. It's rough and coarse and irritating. And it gets everywhere. It's because he's trying to create a sense of inner conflict within himself while being frustrated at the same time. Now, if there's truly one perfect thing about the prequel trilogy as a whole, it's Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi, aka Space Jesus.
Hello there.
Couldn't have picked a better person to portray a character that was played by Alec Guinness. Ewan studied the hell out of his mannerisms, deliveries, and just hearing Ewan talk about him in interviews really shows how much he respects the character. And I love how after he kills General Grievous, he goes, "So uncivilized." And in this moment with General Grievous and Obi-Wan, the novelization gave Obi-Wan the best line here. Grievous says, "I've been trained in your Jedi arts by Count Dooku." And Obi-Wan replies in the novelization, "What a coincidence. I trained the man who killed Count Dooku." Now when I hear complaints about the acting and writing being bad in these movies, well, have you heard the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise? The legend of a Sith who was able to save those he loved and cared about from death, who was then killed in his sleep by his apprentice. Palpatine. That was one of the best written scenes in all of fiction because Palpatine doesn't try to sell the dark side, he wants Anakin to deliberately go there on his own. And what's so incredible in this scene, Palpatine, played by Ian McDiarmid, tells 3 stories in one. His words tell the physical story, his tone tells the thematic story, but it's his face that betrays the emotional story. That half-hidden smirk when he says, "Ironic." It's beautiful acting. Every look at Anakin is a punctuation to his words, emphasis to his tone, and it's just masterfully done. Palpatine doesn't take power through brute force. He manipulates fear, he engineers chaos, and then he offers simple, brutal solutions. The galaxy doesn't resist him because it's too exhausted and too scared. Watching it unfold feels like a warning about how democracies fall. Not with a bang, but with a whisper and a standing ovation. This is why Darth Sidious is one of my favorite Star Wars characters as well. He had studied the past battles of the Jedi and Sith, and found out why the Sith kept losing. So he tried a new way to defeat the Jedi. Politics. Enter the Republic Senate as a politician, and use the dark side to divide and conquer the Republic. And it worked. A very powerful moment occurs when Anakin and Padme are staring at each other across Coruscant, and the score swells up and is very haunting. But as someone who does a little bit of editing, there is one shot in there that looks like it was in reverse. So Anakin finally figures out that Palpatine is the evil Sith Lord that the Jedi have been looking for. And Palpatine gets the biggest hard-on once Anakin says he'd kill him, further tapping him into the dark side. "Oh yeah, I can feel it. It gives you focus." So Anakin goes to Mace Windu to let him know that Palpatine is the Sith they've been looking for. and Mace, along with a few other Jedi, confronts Palpatine, and a lightsaber battle happens, and it's okay. There's just some things about the way Ian McDiarmid looks and how he's keeping up with the choreography and the way the CGI is rendering. He makes a bunch of funny faces though. But I did have one issue with that scene, and that's when Anakin shows up and he tells Mace Windu, "Don't kill Palpatine. He must stand trial. This is not the Jedi way." So what does Anakin do? He chops off Mace Windu's arm, and then Palpatine uses his Force lightning to throw him out of the window. And then he reacts like he just busted the fattest nut in the galaxy. All jokes aside, Order 66 is one of the saddest things I've ever witnessed in a film. The score from Williams and the direction from Lucas is very effective here.
Master Skywalker, there's too many of them. What are we going to do? Oh, fuck!
Fucking memes. Star Wars The Clone Wars is a masterpiece, and I want to talk about it someday, but that finale was just on another level, especially when it came to the Order 66, adding more weight to that tragic moment in the Star Wars lore. So Anakin, along with his battalion, the 501st, is carrying out all these orders from Palpatine to wipe out all the Jedi, including the younglings, of course. He then goes to Mustafar to wipe out all the supremacist senators. And Obi-Wan's realization to finding out Anakin is doing all of this only adds more weight and tragedy to that final fight. And then that's when we reach this beautiful yet epic third act finale, when Obi-Wan and Anakin confront each other, as well as Yoda and Palpatine. And I always liked Mas Amedda's reaction to Yoda's entrance. He gives that face like, oh shit, shit's about to go down. And I think most would agree that these are the best lightsaber duels in the entire saga. These are Jedi Knights. You want them to have some serious swordsmanship. This move from Anakin became forever iconic. And notice how as the fight progresses, their movements become sluggish and slower. They started the duel with super sharp moves, never breaking forms or stances, fluid transitions between every attack. But between all the cat and mouse games demanding acrobatics and being on close proximity to extreme heat, it takes a toll on their combat skills. There's a moment in the fight where Anakin nearly tumbled over backwards, a clear indication that he used too much energy for too long, using the dark side to delay his fatigue. That is some very detailed choreography. I never understood why people complained how fast they fought. They've been at war for 3 years, they know all their moves. When they weren't fighting or trying to be diplomatic, they were training. It makes sense when they are older and less agile as they once were. But here, you have two men pretty much in their prime going head to head, each knowing the other's moves and counters. And a big credit goes to Nick Gillard. This is how you choreograph a fight. It has passion, symbolism. He plays a big part as to why the prequel trilogy has fast-paced and acrobatic lightsaber battles. And it doesn't just rely on the pure spectacle to draw you into it. There is raw emotion and logic. The moment Anakin and Obi-Wan collide with the music and lava eruption behind them is one of the best parts of Star Wars to me personally. Insane stuff between two of the greatest characters in all of fiction. Special, near perfect Star Wars. Even the fights did look choreographed. It made complete sense to me. A battle between two masters of the Force really would become more of a game of chess or luck based on probability than emotion, anger, or passion. In this way, I think the lava battle is actually spot on. Now, this is why I love Star Wars, is when you dig deeper in the lore. Because when Obi-Wan says, "Don't try it," to Anakin before he jumps, it's because Anakin, as a Padawan, grew up loving the story between Obi-Wan and Darth Maul's fight on Naboo, when Obi-Wan jumped over Darth Maul and cut him in half. So, Anakin was going to use that move against Obi-Wan because he was arrogant and cocky. But it fell on him because Obi-Wan already knew what he was going to do. "It's over, Anakin. I have the high ground." "It's not what Maul said." "Oh, fuck. He's going to do it. He's going to do it." "Ah! You were the chosen one. It was said you would destroy the Sith, not join them." The entire final hour and a half is so special, pure emotion, the battle in Mustafar unfolding, Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen acting their asses off, Anakin's descent, Order 66, the now iconic "You Were the Chosen One" heartbreak, the way it was so seamlessly puts everything in place for Episode 4. We also don't give the Obi-Wan TV show enough credit for retroactively making Revenge of the Sith more emotional. On Mustafar, Obi-Wan drops, "I have failed you, Anakin," And now the first thing I'll think of every time I watch this movie will be Vader's, "I am not your failure, Obi-Wan. You didn't kill Anakin Skywalker. I did." Which may be one of the best dialogues in all of Star Wars. The fact that Obi-Wan loved Anakin was kinda on point. Obi-Wan wasn't the master that Anakin needed. It was Qui-Gon. That's why the Duel of Fates was the Duel of Fates. It ultimately puts Anakin down the wrong path. Qui-Gon would have been the stoic, objective guiding father figure required to teach Anakin to control his darker impulses. Obi-Wan wasn't that. He got attached to Anakin and treated him more like a brother because he simply wasn't ready to assume the position of master. I think the fact that the Jedi were hypocritical and made mistakes in the prequels was intentional. The prophecy talks about bringing balance to the Force, but during the prequels there are thousands of Jedi and only 2 Siths. The Jedi have become complacent and somewhat corrupt, and Anakin/Vader leading the purge was just part of the fulfilling the prophecy. A big complaint I hear all the time about this movie is Anakin's turn to the dark side was pretty quick. Well, he grew up as a slave boy and is forced to leave his mother behind to train because of his big responsibility of being the chosen one. He then finds his mother dead after he finally sees her again and even falls in love with Padme, still having to fill expectations and maintain responsibilities. He wasn't ready for or trained well to do so. He goes through all of this to be told to not show emotion at all. One of the biggest flaws of the Jedi. He grew up as a slave and was a slave to the Order that distrusted him and didn't even like him, especially Mace Windu. And I think it's worth noting that Obi-Wan didn't go to Mustafar with intentions of killing Anakin. He talks to him first and tries to win him over. It's only when he says, "I will do what I must," that he makes that decision. I think them denying him the rank of master and then immediately forcing him to spy on the Chancellor was definitely what made him make up his mind. I mean, seriously, dude, who's guiding him into the dark side really at this point? Anybody would feel betrayed in this position, especially after being denied the rank of master. He literally did more for the war than many of them. I always found it funny when Palpatine says, "Don't let him kill me, I'm too weak." He says that as he continues to electrocute himself with the lightning pouring from his fingertips. One interesting thing about the battle between Palpatine and Windu is that Palpatine tries all the lightsaber forms against Windu, and none of them worked against him. It just shows how powerful Windu is, just as much as Count Dooku and Yoda. And this movie proves why Anakin Skywalker is one of the more tragic characters in all of cinema. Sidious destroyed everything Anakin had. The Jedi Order is destroyed, Padme is dead, his master is gone, his body is horribly scarred, his mother is also dead. Pretty much everything he ever had and loved is gone. This all explains why Vader begins to construct a plan to kill Sidious. Hell, I bet Vader was filled with hatred every time he even thought about Sidious, and even more hatred every time he called him master. And James Earl Jones did such an amazing job at sounding emotionless like a machine, and at the same time sounding saddened and heartbroken. George Lucas crafted a narrative that delves deep into the essence of good versus evil, friendship versus betrayal, and the transformation of a hero into a villain. The film's narrative arc is filled with powerful and emotional moments, exploring the complexities of Anakin Skywalker's fall to the dark side, and his transformation into Darth Vader. It's a tale of tragedy, redemption, and the consequences of one's choices that resonates with the audiences on a profound level. The pacing is impeccable, keeping viewers on the edge of their seats, eager to see how the story unfolds. The characters in Revenge of the Sith are not only iconic, but also incredibly well developed. The attention to detail in the world building from the clone troopers to the droids adds depth to the Star Wars universe and immerses the audience in the galaxy far, far away. And that look on Anakin's face as that Darth Vader helmet comes down and we hear Darth Vader's first breath, chills. Anyways, I love Revenge of the Sith. The emotional blows land so hard that they overwhelm any technical criticisms. It's the best Star Wars movie. What else can I say? Anyways, thank you guys as always for watching. I look forward to bringing y'all more videos pretty soon. Don't forget to subscribe and comment down below what movies y'all want me to check out here on the channel next. I'm Matt, and I'll see you guys in the next video.